Sue Barker slams Wimbledon call to refuse Brit bad boy Dan Evans a wild card for tournament. Wimbledon opted to take the moral high ground on Wednesday when they ignored the recent form of Dan Evans and refused him any sort of wild card into this year's championships. But former French Open champion Sue Barker was among those who questioned why the year-long ban for his social use of cocaine should be held against him, when his suspension expired in April. The influential BBC presenter said, "I feel like Dan has served his time and should be entitled to a Wimbledon wildcard, at least into qualifying. He has put his hands up and apologized for what happened, and now he is back and playing good grass court tennis. Personally, he is one of my favorite players to watch, and I know there are plenty of other people who would love to see him play at Wimbledon. I would be interested to know what the thinking of the wildcard committee was because I just don't understand this one." Sources at the All England club confirmed that the reasons for the refusal were not purely tennis-related. That could hardly be so, given the complete superiority of Evans's recent record compared to the two main draw recipients among British men, Jay Clark and Liam Brody. While Evans has won 10 matches on grass, and nearly beat the world No. 26 on Tuesday at the Fever Tree Championships, neither Clark nor Brody have troubled the scorers in the past few weeks. He is clearly in the British top 3 on the surface, along with Andy Murray and Kyle Edmund. There are echoes of last year's situation involving Maria Sharapova. Senior figures at Wimbledon have always insisted that she would not have been granted a wild card on her return from her meldonium ban. In the event she was injured and missed the grass court season anyway. A precedent of sorts, however, does exist. In 2014 a wild card was granted to former champion Martina Hingis after she served a ban having tested positive for cocaine actually during Wimbledon 2007. The difference, according to club officials, is the amount of time that had elapsed. Evans will now try and enter qualifying via the Brits-only tournament that begins on Thursday. 16 British players will feature in the knockout event that offers a wild card into Wimbledon qualifying to the 2 players who make the final. It means that he would have to win another 6 matches in 8 days to make the main draw proper, where first-round losers earn a minimum £39,000. The whole episode surrounding wildcards, often the subject of controversy, emphasizes the unique disconnect between Britain's governing body, the Lawn Tennis Association, and its biggest tournament. The LTA has seen fit to help Evans with wild cards into the tournaments it runs, while Wimbledon, a private members club, has not. In the other Grand Slam nations of France, Australia and the US the governing bodies own and run their biggest event, so such decisions are more integral and made in harmony. Another example of how British tennis acts on a less joined-up basis was the wildcard handed to world No. 129 Naomi Brody. She has steadfastly refused to represent Great Britain in team competitions like the Fed Cup due to a feud with past LTA administrations going back 11 years. While entirely her free choice, Wimbledon still grants her this enormous perk regardless. 6 British women in all were given wildcards, rewarding the promising younger group of players who have made solid progress this season. In this instance the All England club seemed to have heeded last week's call from Heather Watson, who demanded that British players should have priority over those from overseas. On that basis the requests of 2 players who have tumbled down the rankings, 2013 and 2014 finalists Sabine Lisicki and Eugenie Bouchard, were rejected. There is also nothing, as yet, for now world No. 330 Laura Robson, 10 years after she won the junior title. Currently restricted to playing doubles by hip issues, the decision not to at least offer her the chance of being accommodated in doubles looks harsh as she is GB's 4th highest ranked player in that discipline. Andy Murray was recovering on Wednesday from his encouraging first match back against Nick Kyrgios, and discussing with his team how he would approach Wimbledon. He had a warning on Wednesday night from 3 times Grand Slam champion Stan Wawrinka about the process of returning, him having missed the second part of last season after knee surgery. "I think he, Murray, was for sure moving, playing well, knowing he's been away for a year," said Wawrinka, who lost in the second round of the Fever Tree Championships. But if I take my experience, what's important is how he's going to be the next match, how it's going to feel. My first match was in Australia, and 2 days after I was not feeling like pain or whatever, but my body was completely off. I lost 6-2, 6-1, 6-2, but I couldn't really do anything. I felt dead. That's mentally tough, so you need to learn from it, you need to adapt and accept it and be patient.